Welcome to Cherryblossom Yoga. I'm Robin Dinerman. This is a half-hour Hatha Yoga class for beginning and continuing students. I hope you're wearing something comfortable. You have either an exercise mat or a yoga mat, or even a large towel to work on. I often talk about doing things with awareness and yoga being thought of as the middle road, the road of moderation. So if you can link the awareness with what is moderate for you, it can be very beneficial. My example is this. A few weeks ago, I was knitting and I was playing Words with Friends on my cell phone. And because I was not changing position, I was having so much fun knitting and holding the posture and kind of clenching a bit. And with the cell phone, it was heavy, so I started crossing my arm over and working like this. I actually injured my rotator cuffs of both shoulders. So my students thought this was really funny and said, okay, just stop knitting. I said, no, that's not the point. The point is I was overdoing it. So after I went to the doctor, and the doctor's papers said, figure out what you were doing. Well, I knew exactly what I was doing that caused it. So now I knit for maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes because my shoulders are still healing. But then I change position or I do something else. If I'm playing Words with Friends, I set the phone down on the counter and then I just play like so I'm not lifting it and locking my arm into a position. So sometimes when we injure ourselves, it's because of holding or freezing in a particular position. And then when you leave and come back, you go into that same position. So I'm asking you to examine how you're sitting, how you're working at your computer, even how you're holding the steering wheel when you're driving, to see if you're locking yourself into a particular position without changing it a little bit each time. Or if you're in that position, are you clenching, which is using muscles unnecessarily. So relaxing the muscles, letting go, letting the muscles release, using only the muscles you need, and working especially repetitive motions for just short periods of time, taking a break, and then moving. Come join me today as we do yoga asanas, the postures, and come into a standing position. We're going to rock forward and back, rocking back on the heels, coming up on the balls of the feet. I can turn sideways so you can see this better. And you can feel the shoulders moving, so you're just starting to warm them up. You can feel the shoulder blades moving. Just this little movement, a little bending in the knees and in the ankles. Good warm-ups, particularly in the morning. And then we're going to roll the feet outward and inward. You might hear some popping sounds. A couple weeks ago, my class sounded like a popcorn factory. Okay, and then turn the toes under of one foot and press from the big toe down to the little toe. And then press in the opposite direction, stretching the toes. And turn these toes under on the other side and press. And then roll outward and inward again. So you're moving into the hips, the knees, the ankles, the feet, warming them up. And then standing with your feet about hip distance apart, come into Tadasana, the basic standing pose, the mountain. Feel that your feet are pressing down into the earth. Feel how your legs, or in your mind, your legs are growing, your spine is lengthening, the crown of your head, the peak of the mountain moving up into the sky. And then bring your attention to your nostrils. Pull the cool, dry air up the nostrils, down the throat, let it fill your lungs. And imagine the Air and the increased oxygen traveling throughout your body, nourishing each and every cell. Inhaling only through the nose, exhaling either through the nose or through the mouth. And when you exhale, try to compress the belly muscles, pull the navel back toward the spine. This is the yogic abdominal breath. And let's begin by reaching upward with both hands and pulling yourself up on a rope, grabbing the rope, pulling yourself up. If you're reaching up with the left hand, drop the left hip. So you get some movement into the lower spine. And then bring both hands up, flatten the hands, push them against the ceiling or the sky. You don't need to scrunch the shoulders up, just lengthen the arms, press from the heel of the palm, breathe in, another push. And as you release the air, let the hands become heavy and the arms float down to your sides. And place your hands inside of your elbows. Feet are still hip distance apart. Drop the knees a little bit. And lift the arms up at shoulder height. Open the arms and reach forward. So now you see how the arms are when you're reaching forward. Bring the shoulders back into place. Very good. And then inhale, arms up. And exhale, lower the arms with your out breath. Inhale, arms up, legs straighten. Exhale, knees bend, and the arms float down. Again, place your hands inside of the elbows. Let the arms sink against the body. Take a breath in. And exhale, slowly lower your chin. And then we're going to hinge forward from the hips, keeping the chin tucked in. Come down about halfway. And your eyes look through between the legs. Lifting the sit bones up. Gravity pulling your arms and shoulders down. Pulling your head down, stretching the back of your neck. Cheeks and lips become heavy. And remember to breathe deeply. And little by little, the hamstrings are going to stretch out a bit. Lower back, you'll feel that opening. And then release the arms. If your hands don't reach the floor all the way, that's not a problem. Just hang. And then straightening one knee and bending the other. Try to avoid jutting your hips out to the side, but keeping everything in alignment as you're bending and straightening. And then place both hands behind the ankles. Lower your head. Tuck the arms behind the calves. And when you exhale, pull your upper body closer to the thighs. Now let the arms hang, and then bend your knees until you can place your fingers on the mat. Spread the fingers. You're going to use your hands for balance. Bring your feet just a little closer together. Come down onto the balls of your feet, tucking the tailbone under, lifting the breastbone. And if you can, if your toes are flexible enough, you can rock forward and back a little. And then bring your attention to the balls of your feet. You're going to press through the balls of the feet, lift back up into standing forward bend. coming up. You can either uncurl upward or bring the arms out to T position with a flat back and press away. And come on up into Tadasana with the arms out in T position. Turn one palm up, lower the other arm, and lean to the side for a side angle pose. Inhaling center and exhaling lean. So the rotation of the arm helps warm up the shoulders. You can go at your own pace, but don't go any faster than I'm going. Slow is really good. Bring the arms out in T position and turn in the direction of the end of your mat. Bring that shoulder back so you're square the end of the mat. Inhale, center. So you have to bend your knees when you turn, twist at the waist, turn to the other side. Now this time as you twist around, let your head turn over the shoulder, let your eyes look to the corners. One more time on each side. And come to center. Clasp your hands in front of you. Bring your elbows in toward the hips. And inhale, bring your hands up, turn the palms up and reach. Reach up so the shoulders come up. And exhaling, let the shoulders sink, which frees your neck, and lean a bit to one side. And come back to center, exhaling to the other side. And again on each side. Center, and let your arms come down to your sides. Separating your feet, a few feet apart. If you're familiar with the warrior Virabhadrasana, you can separate your feet as far as you feel comfortable. If you're new, just separate the feet a few, maybe a couple feet apart. Turn one foot out at 90 degrees. This is my right foot. I've got the knee above the ankle. Now I have to pull the left hip back, square my hips and shoulders to the front, and lift my arms out in T position. And look out over one arm. And come to center and look out over the other arm. And look to center. And now place one arm lightly on the thigh with the other arm over the ear. Pull that shoulder back. This arm is just touching. It's not really leaning into it. Side angle pose. And lift the arm up, lift from that shoulder, come back to center, and the arm comes down. Then we repeat on the other side. Left foot turning left, knee above the ankle. If you're feeling secure, you can move your foot back a bit. So the foot points to the end of the mat, knee above the ankle, shoulders and hips square to the front. And look out over one arm. And turn to center and look out over the other arm. and look to center, and this arm just slightly touches the thigh. Side angle pose. And lift the arm up, straighten the legs, toes pointed forward. If you're able, come down, hinging forward, tuck your chin in. And here I like to separate my feet quite a bit. Take a hold of each ankle, brain drain, and let gravity do the work. So I've got a good grip on each ankle, shoulders are soft. Gravity is pulling my head down. I'm making a little bit of effort to lift the sit bones up. I'm going to place my hands down for balance, turn the feet outward slightly and walk over to one leg. I'm tucking the arm under. So I'm pressing leg against arm, letting my head hang. And actually, I don't need my hands for this, but you might want to use them for balance. And then you can wrap an arm behind your waist, pull the shoulder back. And then for balance, use the hands, come over to the other side, tuck this arm in, line up the hand or wrist with the shoulder. And if you want, wrap the arm behind, pulling the shoulder and elbow back. And release and come back to center. And then a fun movement that I like very much is called the monkey walk. And you walk arm over arm over arm, all the way behind you. Look back at your foot. Then arm over arm, pivoting around on the heels and balls of your feet. Looking at that back foot. You can feel this, a nice stretch in the hip joint. Come back to center. And once again, either uncurl upward or flatten your back, unhinge up to center, and slowly lower the arms. Step your feet back together. Pause and breathe. Now close your eyes and notice how you feel. You might feel a little tingly all over. You might feel somewhat warmed up. There's no right or wrong way to feel as long as it's not painful. But notice your breath. Is it a little deeper? Are you able to control and lengthen the out-breath? Scan your body and look for areas where you're holding tension. Direct your breath into those areas, usually neck and shoulders, lower back. And let's pause for a moment. We'll return to Cherryblossom Yoga. After a short break, we'll be on the floor. So come join me. If you need to stay seated, you'll be able to do a lot of the arm movements, some of the leg movements, and of course, the breathing. We'll be back in a moment.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of 2 jobs, but only gets paid for one. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back to Cherryblossom Yoga. Come join me. We're going to place the soles of the feet together. Hold on above the ankle bone and press downward, trying to keep space between the breastbone and the navel. So in other words, you're not going to crunch in. You're going to keep your breastbone lifted. So we're stretching the inner thighs. This also helps open up the hips. We'll do this a few times, and then once you have it down, now try to press the legs up against the arms, but the arms are resisting. Holding the position, breathing while you do this. And then pull the heels in a little closer, fingers loosely interlaced, wrapped around the lower toes. Quickly raise and lower the knees in the butterfly. And then we're going to tuck one foot underneath. If you need to, you can keep this leg straight. So we'll take a hold of the foot and go from side to side. So we're working a lot on the hip. And then row your boat. And then go the other direction. And then, with your thumb down, wrap it behind the heel, extend the leg forward, and then lift up through the breastbone, drop the shoulders, and pull the leg in. Now I'm gently rotating the foot forward, rotating the leg forward. I want to bring the heel as close to the hip as I can, and then that gentle rotation forward. Sit tall, shoulders down, and breathe. And release, and then switch to the other leg, either out straight or tucked underneath. Take a hold of the foot and your windshield wiper. And then rowing your boat. So you get some nice stretching in the upper back. And reverse. And then with the thumb down, wrap it behind the heel. Extend the leg, lifting the foot up. And then lift up, lift the rib cage out of the waist. And then tuck in, and using your hands, gently rotate the foot forward, bringing the heel in as close as you can to the hip. You put a little weight here. And then back into the position we were at first, soles of the feet together. We're going to reach for the toes, bring the knees up, knees together, hands on the shins, roll back. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, knees split, and come forward. And come up. Deep breath in, roll back. Sit way up as tall as you can and hinge forward. That's a hip hinge. And then either come into a comfortable seated position or down on your back. And have your hands either one or the other on top of your navel, or turn the palms up, arms slightly away from the body, in Shavasana, the corpse pose. Feel the floor underneath you, the space above you, the spaces under your wrists, ankles, waist. And if you can stay here for a while, that would be wonderful. Let your body receive the benefits of the yoga asanas and deep breathing. Or you can bring your knees up, press your feet into the mat, roll onto your side, and let your head sink down onto your arm. You can draw the knees in almost a fetal position. And using your top hand, let your head hang down. Walk your hands back to your body, spiral to the front, come into a seated position. Let a small smile form at the corners of your mouth. It sends a message to your brain to release endorphins, your feel-good chemicals. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you're feeling wonderful, and I hope you can carry that feeling with you into your day, into your week, and into your life. Namaste.